Welcome to Talking Wildfire with Michael Hill, School of Fire podcast number 6. Today we'll be discussing leadership, and this article was originally published in The Australian, the Volunteer Firefighter magazine in 2016. Its title is Leadership, Your Decisions Make All the Difference by Michael Scott Hill. Over the years of undertaking my unique career direction around the realm of specialty aviation, I have had the opportunity to work under a number of truly inspiring leaders. Working and under the stewardship of these leaders, I enjoyed my times taking part in a lot of well-run, successful programs and missions. Now at this point in my career of having a long-range view over the years, from hot-shotting in California to smoke jumping in Montana, overseeing or crewing on contracted military missions in Afghanistan, science support flights in Antarctica, onto winching into bushfires from helicopters in Australia. I've seen repeated leadership decisions from managers, which vary in impact and consequence. By reflecting on those experiences, I've found these lessons embedded. When I think of what makes the range of good leaders stand out, the one characteristic that comes into focus is decision-making, which then led in either the direction of light, well-oiled impacts and consequences, or very dark outcomes and total collapse in some scenarios. I've seen and been part of programs successfully undertaking the missions they set out to achieve, and from the sidelines, and at times personally, I've witnessed situations where leaders have been given responsibility for great programs and teams, but ripped them apart due to a chain of decisions they've made that then set off downward spirals. In situations where there's suboptimal leadership in practice, but not yet identified, you can begin to hear the commentary that the crews or programs are just a problem or a mess, and there is nothing that can be done to fix them, or it is just the way it is, it's a legacy matter, or this is just the way we do things in this environment/region/company/unit or service branch. Other times, maybe nothing can be said and no alerts are raised because the leader involved has been and is working really hard to conceal the messes they or their people have created. Over and over, however, I've seen the real underlying factor and root cause to these failures usually turns out to be the decision practices undertaken by the leader, and often that is a major factor of the larger mess that can develop around them and in their wakes. How does this keep happening? Maybe an idea is in circulation that because the suboptimal manager is a really nice person, they should be given extra latitude or more time to fix mistakes, or moved out to another place, or even given another chance. Maybe that manager is being protected by powerful connections or is solely in their role as they had been able to use their allies to secure early promotion without ever having any genuine competence or training to bear the significant responsibilities of their role. Maybe the manager remaining in their leadership role has already gone away in their mind, awaiting retirement or the end of a contract or assignment, or has mentally checked out just prior to a period of leave and goes about their days trying to create the least amount of waves as possible. This list of how we have all seen, and it can go on and on. Leaders are faced with dozens of decisions to make every day, from the simple policy-driven decisions to the tough ones, all the way on the scale to possibly life or death. Making good decisions in difficult situations is not always easy, because these decisions involve uncertainty, stress, and sometimes the unfavorable reactions of others. These decisions always as well are filtered and processed through the leader's own personal lenses of past experiences and screens of needs, desires, and emotions. What I observed is that it's important that leaders find ways to make tough decisions well. A good leader understands the importance of situational awareness when the need arises to make a quick decision. They also have learned to take the time and effort when it becomes necessary to get factual and well-rounded information and know when to stop, call for support and assistance from a mentor or superior as needed. Successful leaders all over the world will say they have made many wrong decisions along the way of their careers. But what's different in the case of good leaders is that they have the awareness to learn valuable lessons from their mistakes and adapt. Early in my fire career, I had the honor of working under Mark Linnane of the Los Padres Hotshots in California. He was an incredible leader. Soup, as we called him, had tremendous experience and a wealth of knowledge of his job. We knew working for him that his decisions would keep us safe. He and another great leader I had the chance to work with, Bill Werhane of the West Yellowstone Smoke Jumpers, both were supreme leaders. They were direct when needed, and when we were in the right, they both stood behind us as their troops. Linnane kept some distance from us to be able to make the hard calls when needed, but he cared deeply about the mission we were undertaking and his people, and we knew it, as did Bill Werhane. Steve Croy is another inspiring leader I've had the chance of working with as part of his team. Steve always kept a cool head, and when needed, he would gather his facts carefully, then make decisions from a well-balanced perspective. He clearly understood the dynamics of human nature, especially when under the pressure situations we sometimes face in fulfilling our missions. Experience had shown him the variety of games people play. He offered advice when he could, and always attempted to find win-slash-win solutions to leadership decision challenges. In Australia, I worked for a fire captain, Brian Williams, and he was a trusted and experienced leader. Brian made the point of always listening to his people. He placed his people in the roles where their talents lay, lead from the front, and made it known to us that he valued each of our individual contributions towards our team's larger goals. I've also had the struggle of working for, witnessing, or walking into the disturbance left behind of varying degrees of destructive leaders, of which I won't name, but will give examples of their practices, which almost always led to poor outcomes for the mission, crew, or programs. Their cascading decisions led their teams to poor outcomes by choosing to act on the whim of their personal, daily emotional cycles, or insecurely, they tried to micromanage all of the other people's assigned activities, or they used their leadership roles to increase their own personal feeling of power. The negative impact of their styles being that there were often no room for important, reasonable discussion to occur to overcome potential bias or breakthrough to different ways of doing things. Some of these leaders openly expressed that they'd undertaken their roles focused solely for its perceived fast-track promotion abilities or other self-interests, and it was clearly demonstrated via their leadership decisions. Their leadership calls were filtered through layers of ego, personal desires, or work alliances, without regard to first focusing on what's best for the mission, group, or individuals. Many of these poor decision makers clearly should never have been selected for a position of leadership in the first place. They often lacked proper knowledge or work experience for their roles, combined with low self-awareness and poorly developed judgment. What they did collectively do well was to use extensive amounts of energy or resources to hide or cover up their inadequacies, all the while making more small but critical bad decisions, each of their decisions spiraling downwards towards the negative outcomes they achieved for their mission, group, and the individuals unlucky enough to be assigned to them. These suboptimal leaders tended to jump to quick, emotional, self-focused decisions. If they gathered information, often it came from a limited range of biased sources that commonly ran with unsubstantiated rumors and gossip shaped to advance their own personal self-interest. In other scenarios, leaders let their alliances make poor decisions for them while they focused on building empires around them. Leaders deploying this power leadership style and the follower groups, which often come with it, destroy the value of the diversity of thinking in their organizations. The team learns to be successful by not speaking up with their own ideas, and nobody ever wants to get on the wrong side of that power/ego-fueled leader, even when they began to make bad decisions. Then on the another extreme, a leader with their small series of decisions may hand over leadership of their program group, or crew to unofficial leaders within their organization who rise up to challenge them, or this leader with their poor decisions creates group panic and decision making is surrendered to environmental factors or external pressures. 4 keys for successful leaders. Know yourself, understand people, project certainty, no simple formula time. And again, I've seen the tone and culture of the group is always set from the leaders' decisions and interactions. Inadequate leaders create win-lose solutions by their decisions because of their ego, laziness, desires to be liked, compete, or simply their own feelings of personal greed. They make one small decision after the other until finally they arrive at a large meltdown, which somehow occurs due to a change in the upper leadership, ownership, or an outside assessment, a significant financial loss, or in the worst case, a disaster occurs, and the curtain falls. If any self-awareness is present, they might show regret for the decisions they've made to get them there, but it's by then too late. The cat is out of the bag, and their collapse has rolled out into full view. Most of us, who have been around for a while, have seen these suboptimal leadership failures. Sometimes these failures were only truly revealed upon witnessing their collapse due to extravagant cover-ups, while at other times the signs were there, but the red alerts being raised were disregarded. It's these trails of decisions that destroy programs, crews, and careers. And to help end these ugly cycles, I suggest a series of leadership decision-making questions as a checklist to review for leaders as they go about making their daily decisions. What is our mission? What are we here for in the first place? Once those facts are clearly established and understood and communicated, then how do we go about accomplishing this task as safe and efficiently as possible? With those basic building blocks understood and placed firmly in front and into the leader's decision-making process for each leadership decision afterwards, ask yourself, what's best for the mission, group, and individuals in that order? Aim to create win-win solutions for leadership situations and keep some independence from your people to be able to make the hard calls when needed. Care about your assigned mission and your people. Aim to do what's right by your assigned mission, your team, and the individuals whose destiny you have influence over. Be direct when possible with them. Try to keep a cool head and take the time and extra effort necessary to gather your facts and make your decisions from a well-balanced perspective, all the while understanding fully the dynamics of human nature. This is especially important in the pressure situations some of us face in fulfilling our missions. Take into account the kinds of games people normally play with each other. Offer advice to your people when you can to help them in taking on your mission's goals, and stand behind your troops when they are in the right. Seek feedback as well from people you respect and admire as good leaders. They can show you where you might be going wrong and offer advice for next time. Being a good leader also means to stay in the front of your people when you can. Set the examples where needed. Take time to listen to what your people have to say. Place them in the roles where their talents lay, and make it known that you value each of their individual contributions towards your team's larger goals. Every decision we make as leaders takes our programs and crews towards different directions, step by step. Leadership is not always easy, and there are many different ways to make decisions that involve a mixture of art, science, life and work experience, self-awareness, gut feel, policy, training, and most definitely mentoring from those great leaders that walk the path ahead of us. This is important, for as a leader, our little decisions do, in the end, make all the difference. If you have gotten anything out of today's School of Fire podcast, please share this with a friend or work colleague and leave a comment below. Be safe out there. We're doing this for all of you. If you like what we're doing, please give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment below. See you next time.